All right, here we go. We'll try this again with StreamYard. See if they've corrected their issues. Everything seems okay initially. Moderator, oh, can you ask Angie if she can see me?
Andrew, Wayne want to know, can you see me?
That's my big head brother. For some reason at his house, I'm having StreamYard issues. Probably got something to do with him. All right. Okay, if TikTok and Facebook and YouTube is acting right, let me know. I need some coffee after all of that. Seems like people are logging on. I can see that aspect of it. All right.
Are you okay, boss?
Say okay.
Okay, boss.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. Well, it took a minute for us to get everything going on here. Streams were messing up, so we had to just restart everything. So welcome to the channel. And we're going to not wait our normal 5 minutes to get started. I'm going to get started in just a second. Now, I know because TikTok be tripping, I got to put my cigar over here. So TikTok don't, I'm just ducking. I wonder if they're going to see the smoking in. It's funny, you can do everything you want to do on TikTok, but then somebody smoke a cigar and all of a sudden it's like, oh, oh no. We know we just show butt naked and titties and everything, but he's smoking. TikTok algorithm get him. So once again, we are going through the books. We're in Joshua. If you want to see one of the older ones, then go to my YouTube channel, look at the playlist, and on the playlist you'll be able to see all the older videos from Genesis all the way up through Deuteronomy and starting here with Joshua. So if you find me for the first time, that's where all the older videos are. Now that we've wasted a whole 40 minutes working around with this system, now let's go ahead and get started. So if you want to see the old ones, go back, watch those, please share the videos and so on and so forth. Now, so Joshua is after What's up, Walt, Gabby? So Moses is dead. And that's exactly how it starts. So after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister. And if you remember, Nun, Joshua was the one. So everybody else had to die first. So Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over to this Jordan, you and all the people, into the land which I am giving to them and the people of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I will give it to you, as I promised to Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, and all the lands of the Hittites to the great sea, towards the going down of the sun, shall be your territory. Now, already right there's a major problem with this whole story, because, and as somebody had asked me on TikTok about deconstructing, part of the process of deconstructing is looking at archaeology and looking at histories and see if the Bible matches up to the archaeology or the history. And right here, immediately, we see that it does not match up, because the land that they were supposed to get was the land from the wilderness, which would be the Sinai Peninsula. And then they're supposed to get all the land that goes to the Euphrates River. That's never happened. At no time in history, hey, Sadie, flip back over to this one. At no time in the history of the Israelite kingdoms have they ever controlled the land all the way over to the Euphrates. So just in that alone, it shows that the Bible God lied to the people, or the people were lying to themselves. because even when you look at the time frame that this is happening, this is around 1250 BCE. David David and Solomon kingdoms supposedly come along in the 1100 in the 900s and 800 1100s through the 800s, through the high 800s, right? Now, thing about it, Solomon's kingdom, the time frame of Solomon's kingdom was supposed to be the largest time frame that this Israelite kingdom ever existed. But the problem is that they never vanquished the Moabites, they never vanquished the Ammonites, they never vanquished the Edomites. These people were surrounding them on the east side and the southeast side, which prevented them from ever going as far as the Euphrates. So basically, the deity is a lying ass liar, because they never had that land. And the only time they had the wilderness, which would be the Sinai Peninsula, that would be back at the time, that would be a more recent time frame, in like 1947 time frame. So there's never been this kingdom to which this guy has supposedly promised them. And so it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So right here, he's already lying to the people. And TikTok froze. He's already lying to the people about the expanse that they're going to be able to control, because they're never going to control the amount of land that he's promising them. You know what? I'm going to change something on TikTok to maybe help it out. It's probably not going to work, but we're going to try it. So that already demonstrates. Oh, sorry. Take that right on out. Back to live. Throw it back up. Resume. So right off the whip, we see that the lie has already started. Now most of this is just going to be some rah stuff in chapter 1, but it doesn't work. So no man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so will I be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. Be strong and be of good courage, for you shall cause these people to inherit the land which I swore to the fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, being careful to do according to all the laws of Moses, my servant, commanded you, not to turn from it to the right or the left, that you may have good success wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall have good success. I have not commanded you. Be strong and of good courage. Be not frightened, neither be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Well, that didn't happen either. This God has not been with them whichever way they go. Many kingdoms have stood up against them and has utterly destroyed them or defeated them. Whether it was the Assyrians, who will come during the time frame that this book is most likely written, is during that 800 to 900, 800 to 700 BCE time frame. So we know that the Assyrians was whooped. They already had a civil war, and they were split by the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. And the Assyrians just came and conquered every aspect of the northern kingdom of Israel, except for the city of Jerusalem. See, I don't like that. TikTok just gonna get mad at me. I have my dang cigar. So we already know that this guy did not stand strong with them. But people are always saying that they only have to keep the 10 Commandments or whatnot. That's bull. He reminds them again that they have to keep all the laws and all the commandments, and that he's gonna put it in their mouth, and that they're supposed to study it night and day. And of course, even no matter how vigilant they've been in maintaining their religion, these are one of the most conquered people in the existence of time, right? So we already know he's lying. That guy, this guy is a lying ass liar. They didn't go to all the way to the Euphrates. They didn't have the whole land that he promised them. So he's lying. And many of the excuses as well, the people weren't always obedient. That's bullshit. Yeah, I saw StreamYard kind of blinked out for a second. Pleasure for it. Thank you, everybody who's here. Please share it. I'm gonna talk trash to my brother about his. It ain't his internet though, because I got 4 bars on his internet. It's StreamYard. So then Joshua commanded his officers of the people, pass through the camps and command the people, prepare your provisions. For within 3 days, now this is very important that he's saying within 3 days, you will pass over this Jordan to go to take possession of the land which the Lord your God gives you to possess. Now, when we get in chapter 2, I want you to recognize exactly how many days chapter 2 takes up. And there's a bullshit excuse that some, I'm gonna call them layman scholars and pastors, try to use. But this part here is going to be a lie. They will not be leaving in 3 days. It's going to be more like 4 or 5 days. And some people may say it's nitpicky, but the problem is this book is supposed to be inerrant. It's not supposed to have any, there's supposed to be no problems, no issues, no contradictions, nothing. But even the smallest contradiction is enough rat poison to kill the whole book, because you're supposed to be the perfect God. And to the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh, Joshua said, remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, the Lord your God is providing you a place of rest and will give you this land. Because you remember, they wanted to stay on the other side of Jordan, and they agreed. Your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you beyond the Jordan. But all the men of valor among you shall pass over armed before your brethren and shall keep them until the Lord gives rest to your brethren as well as to you, and they shall take possession of the land which the Lord your God is giving them. Then you shall return to the land of your possession and shall possess it, and the land in which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you beyond the Jordan towards the sunrise. So basically, just keeping it with what they had already talked about. Roscoe said that's not on TikTok. Said that's not true. 1 John 2:1 explains there's lies and truth within the Bible. Oh, we know there's a bunch of lies. I don't know exactly what you're talking about in 1 John, but there's a lot of lies. There's a whole bunch of lies in it. But there's lies in both the New Testament, Old Testament, but the Bible is supposed to be the inerrant word of God, so there shouldn't be any lies at all. There shouldn't be anything that's contradictory. Here we go with that 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, I'm gonna have to like resume TikTok again because they don't like my cigar. If you cannot tell the difference between the lie and the truth in the Bible, then why even follow it? And if there are lies in the Bible, why would you follow it? Why would you follow a God that has a book where people have to decide what are truths and what are lies? And yes, it does. If a person is a lying ass liar, why would I ever trust them to tell me the truth? You wouldn't even know what the truth is. So Roscoe said that doesn't discredit the truth of the Bible. Well, you don't know what's the truths of the Bible. The truth then becomes whatever you choose for the truth to be, which is why there are 40,000 different denominations. So no, just like in chapter 2, we're gonna see some lies that this thing is gonna say. And Jesus speaking in parables is bullshit, mainly because Jesus never existed. The Bible, Jesus never existed. But we're gonna stay on subject here. That is somewhat of the subject, so that's why I didn't mind going there a little bit. But let's continue this one because this is not a long read today. Where did I leave? We'll help them until they give some rest, and so Moses serving God during the sunrise. Okay, and they answered Joshua, all that you have commanded us we will do, and wherever you send us we will go. Just as we obeyed Moses in all things, so will we obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Now we know that these jokers did not obey everything Moses told them to do, which is why a whole bunch of them got killed many times. If they was obeying Moses, they wouldn't have went and got that poom poom from the Moabite women. And speaking about the Moabite women, didn't they according to this book they went and genocided all the Moabite people? So if they went and genocided all the Moabite people, how is it that during the time frame of David there is the kingdom of the Moabites? You wouldn't have a kingdom of the Moabites if they actually genocided, which is a lie. They didn't genocide it. You wouldn't have the story of Ruth if they had genocided the Moabite people like Moses claimed that they genocided. So therefore, lie. They didn't genocide these people. Right? They didn't genocide these people. They lied. And they talk about they've obeyed everything. They ain't obey everything. And then when we probably next week, when they actually do the whole Jericho thing, next week or the week after, um, they ain't finna follow everything. That's why they're gonna have to kill this man and his whole family. But the people also didn't follow everything. That's why the children of Korath had to be, Korath and all of his people had to be MDK'd because they don't always obey. So they just straight up lying to this man, telling him, "Oh yeah, we're gonna obey over everything." And then of course this chapter has to end with some death. Whoever rebels against your commandments and disobeys your words, whatever you command him, shall be put to death. Only be strong and be of good courage. That's a harsh ass crime. That's a harsh penalty, I should say. That you're going to, if we disobey Joshua, then you should be put to death. That's a dictatorship. That's cruel. That's some bullshit. And it might be considered, hyperbole or hyperbole, rather. But still, I'm not. What society is going to function well where we're saying that if you disobey the president, then your penalty is death? Right? Jerome said you nailed it. The Bible truth is that the Bible lies. The truth of the Bible is that the Bible lies, and sows confusion. So every time I see it pause on Facebook and YouTube, I pause. It wasn't for them to obey, it was God's judgment for their already transgressions. Come on, man. That's an excuse, Roscoe. That's an excuse to make you feel better about the situation. Is that they already transgressed, so that's what God's judgment is going to be about. No, these people, they're like any people. They're going to do things a certain way during certain time frames, and as culture changes, they're going to do things differently, right? And the laws and decrees and rituals and everything that this guy gives, they're impossible for anybody to, I mean, they're not impossible. You can follow them. But as cultures change, people are going to stop following some of these old traditions, just like we do today. We don't follow we don't follow traditions our grandparents were following, So no, I'm not buying that. It was for them to obey. It literally said, obey all the commandments, laws, statutes, and rituals. It literally says to obey them. It does not. It was for them to obey it. So let's get into Joshua chapter 2. Then we can be done with the reading part. And this part actually gets a little bit better, a whole bunch better, rather. Because that first part was just, a little introduction. And Joshua, the son of Nun, sent 2 men secretly to Shittim as spies, saying, "Go, view the land, especially Jericho." And they went and came into the house of a harlot whose name was Rahab, and lodged there. Now, if you're talking to a Bible apologist, because they know that Joshua said that in 3 days we're going to cross the Jordan, they know that there is going to be a time issue. So although none of this says the time frame to which the spies traveled, they try to say that they were traveling at night and try to make this this is a whole day. That a whole bunch, all this stuff that's about to happen was just in one day. But it takes them 2 days to travel from Jordan to Jericho. So no, it is not a whole day. Right? So So God works in mysterious ways. So they went and came to the house of a harlot, whose name was Rahab, and lodged there. So they go to the city, and the first place they go to is the whole house. I'm giving a little credit on that one right there. Give him a little credit. Hey, where we going? We're going to Jericho. And Joshua ain't around us. Our wives ain't around. We going to the whole house. It kind of reminds me of me and Angie was talking earlier today, and I was telling how when I went on ship with the Navy, as soon as we hit the first port, a bunch of them Navy and Marines were going to the whole house. So basically, they went to the whole house. So they went to the whole house, and they went to lodge there. And it was told the king of Jericho, behold, certain men of Israel have come here tonight to search out the land. The king of Jericho sent to Rahab, saying, bring forth the men that have come to you, who entered your house, for they have come to search out all the land. But the woman had taken the two men and hidden them, and she said, true, the men came to me, but I did not know where they came from. And when the gates was to be closed at dark, the men went out. Where the men went, I do not know. Pursue them, for you will overtake them. Now, I want you to think about this. If you're talking to an apologist, they're going to say that they traveled when they left. When Joshua was saying that in 3 days we're going to cross the river Jordan, they had to have traveled by day and got to Jericho by day, because Jericho closes the gates at night. And she's saying that they came to her, and when the gates was closed at dark, the men went out. So this is 1 day that they are spending in Jericho. So we got 1 day already. Let's keep that in mind. We got 1 day. Now this lying-ass woman, she's lying to her own people. She's going to tell you why she lies. And some of the lying that she does, that some of this is artistic licensing, because as we've discussed many a times, they make it seem like everybody in this book respects their God and knows who their God is, when bullshit. They would have been the Canaanites at this time frame were still worshipers of El and his wife Asherah, and Yahweh and Baal were the sons of El and Asherah. So Yahweh was the storm deity, and so they may have known of Yahweh, but Yahweh wasn't their supreme deity. She would have been worshiping, most likely, Asherah, but also worshiping El. So they don't get into some bullshit about her giving some praise to their God, but it's bullshit. But she's a liar. Don't do that. We're not. Don't come on my channel and start asking people to put in your cash out, bro. We're not doing that. Excuse me. I had to delete that one. So where was I? Lost my damn. Oh, so the men. Where's it? Oh, they had left after dark, and they had went. So she told them to go pursue them. But she had brought them up to the roof, showing that she was lying, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order on the roof. So the men pursued them on their way to the Jordan, as far as the fords. And as soon as the pursuers had gone out, the gates were shut. Wait a minute. Oh, it's doing the verification. TikTok's weird how it does that. It makes you do this verification. And TikTok makes you do a verification while you're in a live and make sure you're still doing the live, which makes no sense. All right, so she lied to the magistrate, the king. She lied to the men, and then they went out looking for him. But this is all, they came in the day, they was there that night. They're going to spend the night with this woman. at the whole house. So she's already showing that she's a liar, right? So before they lay down, she came up to them on the roof and said to the men, I know that the Lord, all capitals. So we had this discussion on one of my posts where somebody was saying that every time they say Lord, they're talking about Baal. No, when it's all capitals, they're talking about Yahweh, right? So what we have here is she's saying the Lord, recognizing their God, her God. Their God is the primary Lord when it's not, wouldn't even be the God that she worships. So this is like how they write this book to make it seem like people worship their God or recognize their God and always knew who their God was. And they would not have given this much respect to their gods. No, not even slightly. All right. So that whole her calling him the Lord, nah, that is artistic licensing. But she said, I know that the Lord have given you the land and that the fear of you has fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away before you. We have heard how the Lord dried up the waters of the Red Sea before you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the two kings of the Ammonites that were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. And as soon as we heard it, our hearts melted. Our hearts melted. I don't know what flew by my ear. And there was no courage left in any man because of you. For the Lord your God is who is God in heaven above and on the earth beneath. Now then, swear to me by the Lord that as I have dealt kindly with you, you also deal kindly with me, with my father's house, and give me a sure sign, and save alive my father and my mother, my brothers, my sister, and all who belong to them, and deliver our lives from death. And the men said, our life is yours. If you do not tell this business of ours, then we will deal kindly and faithfully with you when the Lord gives us this land. Now, if that doesn't sound like I'm writing this from the Israelite perspective, hundreds of years later, and I'm going to make my side look good, then I don't know what does. Because there ain't no way in hell this woman who was worshiping El and Asherah, most likely, would have been calling upon and saying that, oh, your God is. And if she did, even if she did, they say that she was a woman of faith, right? That's what the scholars, the apologists would try to say about Rahab, that she's a woman of faith. No, even if she did turn traitor towards her people, she was not a woman of faith. She was a woman of fear, right? She had been fearing this. No faith, straight fear. And she's praised for her being a lying ass liar. And so they saying, okay, we're gonna let you live. So then she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was built into the city wall, so that she dwelt in the wall. And she said to them, go to the hills, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourself there 3 days until the pursuers have returned. Then afterwards you may go away. Now, how are they going to hide themselves for 3 days? Because they know it's a 2 days journey from Jericho to the River Jordan. So she's telling them to hide for 3 days, because that'll give, since they've already, the people looking for them have already left for 1 day. It takes them 2 days to get there. They got to come back. So she's giving them time to navigate around them, because it's a 2 day journey. So she's telling them to hide for 3 days, and they're going to obey that. So how is it that Joshua is saying that we're going to go across Jordan in 3 days if his spies are not even going to come, or going to return at the earliest on the 3rd day, but most likely it's the 4th day that they return? So that part in chapter 1, although some people may say it's minor, it doesn't matter, If it's wrong, it's freaking wrong. And if the thing got errors, the book got errors, because these people who were writing this book is like multiple people were writing it or something. So to continue, the men said to her, "We will be guiltless with respect to this oath." Hold on. What? We will be, I swear, guiltless to this respect of this oath of yours, which we have you have made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, you shall bind this scarlet cord, which I don't know why they always told you that it was a curtain, but it's supposed to be just a string. This scarlet cord to the window through which you let us down, and you shall gather into your house your father and your mother, your brothers, and all your father's household. And if anyone goes out of the doors of your house into the street, his blood shall not be upon his head, and we shall be guiltless. His blood shall be upon his head, and we shall be guiltless. But if a hand is laid upon anyone who is within your house, his blood shall be on our heads. But if you tell this business of ours, then we shall be guiltless with respect to your oath, which you have made us swear. And she said, according to your words, so be it. Then she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet cord to the window. So basically just, hey, you hold up your end of the bargain, we'll hold up our end of the bargain. You come outside when we kicking y'all ass, that ain't our fault. Stay in the house. You'll be all right. You know, because it's going to be the purge that's going to be happening according to this story. So keep your ass in the house or you won't get purged. And if you do, that's not my fault. It's your fault. So that's the deal they made. So they departed and went into the hills and remained there 3 days until the pursuers returned. Again, it overwhelmingly shows that these 3 days that Joshua lied when he said we're going to go over Jordan in 3 days, because it was at least 4 days. Well, they had to travel there, so that's 2 days. Then they spent the night, that's a third day. Then they waited for 3 days, that's 3 more days. In the hillside, that's 3 more days. So we're at 4, 5, 6, we're at 7 days. And then they got to finish their travel. They departed and went to the hills and remained there for 3 days until the pursuers had returned. The pursuers had made search all along the way and found nothing. Then the 2 men came down from the hills and passed over and came to Joshua, the son of Nun. And they told him all that had befallen them. And they said to Joshua, truly, the Lord has given all the land into our hands, and moreover, all the inhabitants of the land are faint-hearted because of us. So they came back. That's the end of Joshua 2. And we only do 2 chapters in a day. What amazes me the most about this BS story is the fact that they try to make Rahab seem like she is such a faithful woman. But she, just like many other times in this book, they make women to be the worst character. The women have the worst characterization possible in this book 80% of the time. I'll give them 80%. Sometimes they treat a woman right. But when you look at how they treat women like lying-ass liars. This is their mentality, because they say that a woman's promise is not valid if her father and her husband can invalidate it. They say that a woman's promise, a woman's witness is not valid. It has to be witnessed by a man. Because the way they describe women in this book, women are liars, right? That's why I put the subtitle, the blessed woman is a lying woman. When you look at Rebecca lied in order to get Isaac to bless her favorite child. Tamar hid herself as a prostitute to trick Judah. Rachel stole her daddy's idols, sat on them, claimed that she was on her period, lying, so that she can keep her dad's idols. You see the theme? You see the theme that they do to women? When I tell women this book doesn't like you, it's because they theme y'all out to be liars most of the time, right? The woman at the well, the Sumerian woman, oh, she a hoe, sleeping with all these men. The woman that they go to hang out with, who's a liar, Rahab. She's a hoe and she's a liar. You see how they portray the women? The woman who was brought to Jesus, she committed adultery. In order for her to commit adultery, she got to have a man to commit the adultery as well. Where he at? Right? No, we're just going to talk about the woman. The woman is, like Trauma said, the woman is the one who bit the apple. Liar. They portray women in the worst possible fashion most of the time. Most of the time. Abraham convinced Sarah. Hey, look here. Once when they went to see Pharaoh, an unnamed Pharaoh, the other time when they went to Amalek, hey, I need you to lie and say that you my sister, even though she was technically his half sister, but the true statement would have been, you're my wife. Because he said, I don't want to tell them, don't tell them you're my wife, because they may look upon your beauty and think that you're so fine and then kill me. And he was more concerned about himself and not his wife. So he didn't mind pawning his wife off to these other men to be sexualized instead, because he's trying to save his life. So he told her to omit the truth that she was his wife and not his sister, and claim just the half sister thing. But he just said sister. And what did they get for their troubles? They got a bunch of sheep, they got a bunch of silver, they got a bunch of slaves. Abraham literally became rich because he pimped his wife. Now, my man Fred just said, prove it a little bit ago. I have given you enough proof in the description of all these women, of how the Bible describes these women, to let you know. Leah didn't have no problems going along with her daddy's lie to sleep with Jacob and become his first wife. She had 9 parts of a problem doing that. She went on home with the business and slept with him. And think about it, their wedding ceremony goes on for like a week. So this woman is lying for a week that she's Rachel. And then after she sleeps with Jacob and officially becomes his wife, then it want to be known that it was her. Good old Fred. What Fred say? Because Fred don't ever provide any damn proof of nothing. What about the woman who what about the woman who touched his outfit? What about the woman who gave her $2? What about the Proverbs 31 that are good women's? Dude, learn how to formulate a sentence. Touch. You meant touch. What about the woman who touched his? Okay. I said 80% of the time, you're going to have some decent description of women. Proverbs 31 is just a description of women in general, of what you should look for as a wife. It's not talking about one specific woman. The woman who gave 2 mites, sure, that's great. The woman who touched the hem of his garment, you don't know nothing about this woman other than the fact that she had an issue of blood, but you don't know nothing about her character. That doesn't say, oh, women are great. It just says that she believed. That's it. She's a basic believing woman. But what do you have to say? See, this look how Fred did that, y'all. What, Fred, do you have to say about the women I talked about? What do you have to say about Rahab? What do you have to say about Sarah? What do you have to say about Rebecca? What do you have to say about Rachel? What do you have to say about Leah? Come on. What do you have to say about the actual people to which I talked about? What about the ones I talked about? What you got to say about them? Does not the Bible describe those women to be that way? What about Eve? Come with the women that I'm talking about. Can't do that, can you? You got to try to jump over to something else. But sure, you had Mary and Martha, you had Elizabeth, but you don't know nothing about them. They just gave you a little bit of information about them. That's fine. They seem decent in their description, except for the fact that Mary committed a sin and helped Jesus commit a sin. You see, they was at this party and everybody was already drunk. Now, if you're an enabler to a drunk person, then you're sinning, right? You're part of their drunkenness. She told Jesus they ran out of wine. Here goes some buckets of water. Told him to make some more wine. Jesus was like, it ain't my time yet. Mary slapped him upside his damn head. Look at him, boy. Make some more wine. Jesus made some more wine. They said it was better, the best wine they ever had, but they were already drunk. So Jesus helped people to become more drunk than they already were. Jesus participated with the drunkenness at the behest of his sweet little so-called mother Mary, who pushed him and forced him to make that wine. So Mary ain't all clean. See, it ain't like they could have done that story without even putting Mary in it. They could have been at the party, they ran out of wine, and Jesus was like, oh, y'all ain't got no more wine? Keep the party going. And made some more wine. But no, they have to make Mary force him to do it. So no. All right, as an ex-alcoholic, this story is disturbing. It should be. It should be. If you're an ex-alcoholic and you know how you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, how they have their 12-step program, and part of it is to get with your deity, yet your deity kept the party going. And here's the bullshit excuse, but y'all still using them to glorify. Okay, so that would mean if you're telling a lie for the benefit of the people who believe in this Bible, then your lie is justified. It's a good lie. It's a good lie. That's what you're saying? It's okay to lie if you're lying for the benefit of these so-called God's children. It's okay to lie if you're lying for this God. So that means that any lie that's in the Bible, any lie that you ever tell somebody, is okay to tell those people a lie. Because I knew somebody was going to say something like that. It's okay to tell somebody that lie because it's for the benefit of this Bible, benefit of this God. There is, and yet one commandment is to not lie. But yet it's okay to lie. Make it make sense. Because that math just ain't mathing. The Christians been doing that since their inception. They certainly have. So God perpetuates sin. According to Fred, y'all, this God perpetuates sin. Fred, I thought you were supposed to be handling me today. Are you a rancher? Nah, I just like the cowboy style, man. Just like the cowboy style. But depending upon what day you catch me, it's a different hat and different styles. Cowboys and cigars. I'm trying to see some of y'all stuff real quick. Right. This always bothers me. How can pretend to drink blood when it's with alcohol? Yeah, drinking blood goes against the Old Testament teachings. So this whole idea of blood drinking, that's disgusting. And plus the Old Testament says you're not supposed to consume blood. But yet that's one of the reasons why the Jewish people would never come over to worshiping this Jesus, because y'all are drinking people's blood, and that goes against their religion. Yep. The Romans who worship many gods, they became those in charge of the Roman Catholic Church. Exactly. All they did was cross over many of their traditions into the Christian teachings. And people still believe those teachings today. Smoking Lion, Smoking Lion LLC. What is that, Shanice? Oh, your husband sells cigars. Gotcha. Is that the brand, Smoking Lion? So, what do you guys think? Do you think that it's okay to lie for your religion? lie for your beliefs. I look it up, smoking lying. Because if you think it's okay to me, if you think it's okay to lie for your religion, lie for your beliefs, then you got a problem. I don't think it's ever okay to lie. I don't think he might speak English, but it's some broken ass English. But he damn sure can't write English. Now, y'all know I don't normally do this, but Fred, you don't talk so much trash. You talk trash every day. And please, y'all don't get mad at me. I will let you come on, Fred. I will let you come on. Since you're supposed to be handling me in the name of Yah, you're supposed to be handling me. You lie to get out of trouble, even if it costs you your life. Nope, 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 nope. And trust me, I understand that there are times I used to be in a job where the job basically was to lie. Right? You know, undercover cops, they lie.
So Trump got shot at.
People who this TikTok is tripping. People who work in espionage, they lie. And it's supposed to be for the greater good. I will give a little bit of leeway to those type situations when it's your life is in danger, something like that. But these women are lying when their life is not in danger. Rahab was the only one who lied when her life was somewhat in danger. You know, but she didn't. But then Rachel had no reason to lie. Rebecca had no reason to lie. Leah had no reason to lie. Their lives are not in danger, but they still lie. Fred ain't responding. Shanice said, please, no. Oh. I don't like how that looked. I'll let him. Oh, yeah, Trauma, you shouldn't like how that looked. Let him come. You don't want that because you know he'll spell it wrong. Yeah, you see how he got quiet? Coach, yeah, they get quiet when it's time to actually step up. Where are you on Billy Carson? Most of the time, I'm about 50-50 on Billy Carson. I understand Billy Carson. Look, when you run in the business, sometimes you gotta sensationalize the marketing. But in this situation, why would you sensationalize the marketing? Just, you know, the information in itself is good enough that you can build your, you know, you can build it. So there's never a reason that you need to sensationalize. So I don't necessarily go for Billy Carson and half the stuff that he talks about. Because he tries to force the Anunnaki story to function with the Bible. Look, okay, this is just for Fred. Fred Adams. Don't click on that link right now. But other than that, some of Billy Carson's information is correct. But then when he try to connect, it's sometimes he's trying to connect dots that don't connect. Yeah, some of them dots just don't connect. So no. Yeah, he started out when he first was starting out. He was pretty much sticking to the Anunnaki story. He wasn't trying to incorporate the Jesus story this or Jesus story that into it. He was focused on the Old Testament and how it correlated to the Anunnaki story. but now he's tried to move things over into this other one. Billy Carson don't believe in the Jesus character of the Bible as a savior. He thinks that Jesus was half Anunnaki, by the way. If you actually listen to him, and say he's for entertainment purpose. He said Billy Carson is for entertainment purposes only. 50%, yes. Is there a map that shows the area the Bible speaks of? Yeah, you just I mean, you can type in, like today in my research, because I knew this guy was lying about the Israelites ever conquering all the way to the Euphrates. I looked up a map of the kingdom of David and the kingdom of Solomon, which is the largest kingdom that the Israelite kingdom in that 1000 to 800 BCE time frame. And at no time did they conquer all the way to the Euphrates. So you just Google a time frame that you're looking for of that area, and it'll give you an idea. You can see plenty of maps that demonstrate the extent of their kingdom. What are you talking about? You can't connect. Oh man, you see, I gave you your shot, Fred, and you messed it up. I gave you your shot. I don't give shots too many times, but you messed it up. You messed it up. You had your shot. You wasn't listening to Eminem. Should have been listening to Eminem. You get one shot. You messed up your shot. Oh, I've never seen anything with him showing his Mercedes and mansions. I don't follow his channel. Some of this stuff just pops up and I see it. Look at it right now. Look at it right now. Fred talking about some, I do, sir. I debate the word all the time. No, you don't debate the word all the time. That's evident. You just spat out. That's a lie from hell, sir, is what you spat out. But I gave you an opportunity to come on here, be able to state your cases, and yet you start claiming that you can't come on. So I don't want to hear nothing else from you about you gonna handle me in Yahshua's name. You gonna handle this. I'll deal with you, sir. You had your opportunity to deal and you punked out. It's as simple as that. You punked out. All right. I don't want to hear nothing about nothing else. You on your phone, laptop, whatever, and you had the opportunity. All you had to do was click the link and you punked out. All right. So which makes all your I'ma handle you and I'ma do this and I'ma do it makes you a lying ass liar. Fred, you're a lying ass liar. I can't wait for the t-shirts to come in for you a lying ass liar. I already ordered some, and we're gonna have the lying ass liar shirts. Because Fred's a lying ass liar. And it wasn't even something that I did. I gave you the shot. I am supposed to debate some dude soon. It'll be after I get back to North Carolina, which is not going to be until somewhere between the 21st and 24th. I don't know exactly when we're going to get back, because y'all know me and Angelina are nomadic. Yeah, I know he's running. They always, that's why I don't bother with half of them most of the time when I see them talking they trash. Any other time we've been live and I put the post out there for people to be able to come on, it's never the Will Seegers and the Freds. All of them, they seem to never be available for those. Even though they be talking in the comments, but they don't want to come on. They hide behind a keyboard. They're always hiding behind some damn keyboard. Yeah, the debate with this guy, I think he's a Hebrew Israelite, is going to be live. There is one stipulation that I got to make sure is present. It has to be on my platform. I don't trust Hebrew Israelites. He's already seemed like he's emotional type, So I don't trust that it'll be fair if I let them control it. So hell no. So we're in open conversation now. Early, what? Since he can't, since he can type, but he can't come on. But he can post. He can't say he type. Okay, so these Roman writers lie about the Messiah. Tacitus is Suetonius. It's not Suctonius. Thales, Phlegon, Pliny the Younger. Okay, so Fred, I will explain this to you one more again. None of those people are eyewitness to Jesus. Those people are writing about what people believed, not writing as if they seen anything. They are not witnesses. They're writing about what they believe. Tacitus and Pliny also wrote about how Vespasian was able to heal a blind man and heal a lame man through the power of Serapis. So if you claim that because they wrote about people believing in Jesus and that makes Jesus real, then you would also have to use that same evidence to say that Serapis is real. So you got to do better than that. And it's weird that you got to explain the same thing over and over again. Is Sumer older than Egypt? Sumer is slightly older than Egypt, as we can tell right now. In our modern day understanding of Egypt and Sumer, was there something there probably prior to the Younger Dryas in both areas? More than likely. But as far as what we call civilization, Sumer is slightly older than Egypt, but they both are relatively around the same time. And the people of Sumer most likely came from whomever the people of Turan Tepe and Göbekli Tepe are. But that's my educated guess on that one. As far as Turan Tepe and Göbekli Tepe, that hasn't been established. You're welcome, Michael. I try to enlighten. And see, Fred is like for entertainment purposes only, y'all. That's the only reason I keep bringing his stuff up, because this is worse than typical Bible believers. First of all, your Bible does say that you need at least 2 eyewitnesses. Now, in the video that I made, I said 3, but you need 2 eyewitnesses. So let me correct that. You need 2 eyewitnesses to say if anything is true. So the Bible does say that you need eyewitnesses. Now, we don't need eyewitnesses to slavery in America because we have documentation of bill of sales, of tax documents, and that sort of thing. And here's the other part. We got video of people, video and audio of people who lived during slavery. You can find audio interviews of people who were alive during slavery. So, yeah, you ain't got no proof of Jesus. You trusting some documentation that was controlled by the government. Yeah. None of them saying, they always claim that they felt Jesus. Jesus came talk to them. But when? When? Prove it to everybody else. Why would a guy who wants everybody to believe in him hide so much? Right. Hell, you can go to certain parts of the world today and still find people who are enslaved. You can still find that. But we do have interviews of people who were alive during slavery. Hold on, I gotta put my glasses on. I can't read y'all stuff. Oh, I'm not going to debate Fred. Fred ain't worth me debating. Huh? What you trying to say? Huh? Go ahead and eat, baby. Stop. I don't know what he talking about. I'm gonna go him on that one. Is that considered North Korea is relatively slavery? What? What? You want me to tell him something? Hold on for a minute, y'all. Come whisper in my ear. I had to go in there and whoop some people's asses. What'd you do? And so what's the deal?
I don't know. I didn't never say, but I told him I go
You told him that?
I told him.
Okay. And what did you do?
He didn't know nothing. They came separate papers.
You need me to tell David? If so, tell him to come out here.
I told him I said that's fine.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Satisfy a family issue real quick. You know what's crazy? Oh, Rick and Sheila said, "What is Fred talking about?" Fred is basically double backing. If there's a video where I talked about eyewitnesses, that you got to have 2 eyewitnesses, but I said 3. Fred corrected and said, "Yeah, you got to have 2." Where does it say 3? It's there 2. So you got to have 2. So in Deuteronomy, you have to have 2 witnesses. Now Fred is claiming that you don't have to have any eyewitnesses. So that's the foolishness that he's talking about. You know. Now I'm not putting him on camera. He had an opportunity to get on camera, but he punked out. At the beginning of Luke, doesn't he say he was writing his own eyewitness account, but we know he didn't write the book. Well, it's well known that Luke was not an eyewitness, and that he was writing based on what he had been told. But one of them does say, start that way. Okay. No, Luke doesn't start that way. Luke starts out in so much as I have undertaken to compile the narrative of things to which have been accomplished among us, just as they were delivered to us by those who from the beginning were, but it says those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. It seems good to me also, having followed all these things closely for some time past, to write an orderly account for you, most excellent the Ophilius, that you may know the truth concerning these things which have been informed. So Luke admits that he's writing based on what other people have seen and claiming those people to be eyewitnesses. Luke doesn't claim himself to be an eyewitness. So Luke, he doesn't, but he claims that he's writing his own eyewitness accounts. So basically you have to take Luke's word for it, that those are actual eyewitnesses. So what's going on with the video quality? I'm in Atlanta at my brother's house, and for some reason it sucks. I thought that I would have, we had delays starting, so I was supposed to be done by now. But so it's getting dark on me, so I didn't bother to bring my tripod out so I have better lighting. Now, Mark doesn't claim, start out saying eyewitness. So, yeah. What you talking about, Ricky? Coach, don't put that snitch on. Don't put the snitch on camera. Oh, you talking about the lady whispering in my ear? Hey, yeah, hey. Nah, this situation, she need to tell me. Because I don't know if I need to go in there and let some people know what's up around these joints, around these parts. So doesn't Fred know that the parts of the canonical process is that the writers are supposed to be firsthand contemporary witnesses? That's what they're supposed to claim, that the writers were. But all the books were anonymously written initially, and then they added the names during in and around the late first century, early second century is when they started adding the names to them. No, I think no. Luke wasn't a disciple of Paul. I could be wrong, but I believe that Luke was supposed to be a disciple of Peter. In actuality, I think Luke was supposed to be a disciple of Peter, which is an interesting thing how all of them developed their own discipleships that were separate. You like how you throwing this up? Watch how you deny this. John the Baptist says, I must bear witness if the Messiah, St. John verses 1, that one witness, Matthew, Jesus told Matthew to follow me, and that two witnesses according to the book of Deuteronomy. You just said that you don't have to have any witnesses. You see how you don't make sense, bro. You just said you don't have to have eyewitnesses. Now you're countering your own point that you made earlier about not having to have eyewitness, say that you have eyewitness, that it says you have to have eyewitness, which is what I said. You have to have some eyewitnesses, but yet there are no eyewitnesses to any of the accounts of Jesus or the Bible in itself for the overwhelming majority. Coach, do you think the Pauline doctrine was the icing on the Roman cake? Yes, actually, the Pauline doctrine, if you to look at it, you can tell it is much more pro-Roman than the so-called Gospels are. The Gospels are not pro-Roman at all. They're not completely pro-Roman, but the writings of Paul are much more pro-Roman, and because they were being written for a Roman audience, because they were under Roman rule. And if they had written it in the same way as the Jewish doctrine, then if they had written it the same way as the Jewish doctrine that came before it, the Old Testament, as we call it today, then the Roman government would have suppressed them even more so because of them trying to overthrow the Roman government itself. Here's the thing, Isaac. I understand what you're saying. He reads the Bible that claims to have eyewitness. The books that don't have an eyewitness were not included. Why is that so foggy? Is that's I thought that was humidity. I know I've had humidity before, but that wasn't humidity. For some reason, I'm foggy. None of the there's not one book written about Jesus that was written by an eyewitness. There's none, not one that we have found that was written about this Jesus that is an eyewitness account of Jesus. None of them. This What did y'all do to my camera? I guess y'all gonna look at blurry coach today. Oh. But let's find out. Let's see. Because I said I'm not sure. I thought it was Peter. Okay. Luke is injured. So Luke was a disciple of Paul. As I said, I wasn't sure about that one. See, that's the one thing that I can do that most of these Christians can't do, is I can say if I'm unsure about something, and then I can go correct it, and then I can come back with it. So Luke is a disciple of Paul. Luke wasn't an eyewitness. So the Gospel of Luke is not an eyewitness account. And especially since we don't know who wrote it, because they just gave it the name Luke. Let me skip down and catch up with y'all. And if you're following anybody, if you listen to anybody's information, and if they cannot come back and correct themselves, or when they're not positive about some information, but they speak like they're positive, you should be leery of that person, right? Because I will correct myself. Okay, so Fred does give us a good little ammunition of things to talk about. So did not John the Baptist was an eyewitness account of Christ? No. Let me tell you why. First thing, there's a problem with even the existence of John the so-called Baptist. The first problem with John the Baptist is that John the Baptist is supposed to be Jesus's cousin, right? This is Elizabeth and Zechariah's boy. Now, according to the Matthew version, Herod was killing all the babies who were about 3 years and younger. Since John was supposedly only a few months older than Jesus, about 6-8 months older than Jesus, John should have been killed during that time frame if he was going around massacring all these babies, if there was an infanticide going on. But somehow miraculously John lives. So maybe the account of Luke is right, and it ain't had nothing to do with what Matthew's account and them genociding the babies, because they haven't found any proof of any babies being genocided like that during that time frame, which would mean that Jesus never went to Egypt, and the whole my son will come out of Egypt shit, Jesus doesn't fulfill that prophecy. But Luke wrote that in there to make sure that Jesus could fulfill what was written, I believe, in Isaiah concerning that. Now, John the Baptist supposedly was just baptizing. He didn't follow Jesus. So John the Baptist would not have been seeing all the things supposedly Jesus was doing. It was a different John that was supposedly following the Jesus character. But at the end of the day, none of them existed. They just made up names. They are just made up names. Right. Isaac just expressed it away. Anything John the Baptist said about Jesus was secondhand, because John the Baptist didn't write anything about Jesus. John went on with his. It's like Jesus was T.D. Jakes and John was Creflo Dollar. They are doing their own thing. Both of them trying to preach. Both of them having their own following. So no. So, and see, this is what I'm saying. Now, he wrote that bullshit. If he actually understood and knew his own book, he would recognize what I was saying and how true it was. Grand Rising, Ella. Good evening from Jamaica. Oh, just make me jealous then. Just make us all jealous that you're in Jamaica having a good time, while we're here with no beach. Enjoy yourself. Right. John, and that's the thing. What am I saying? John the Baptist didn't write one damn thing in the Bible. Things were written about John the Baptist. Nothing. John the Baptist wrote nothing at all. John wrote nothing. If John the Baptist wrote nothing, how do you know what John saw? What you got is people saying what John saw. And John didn't hang out with Jesus. He was like that. He was like my cousin who was just here, Bernard. Bernard was in Belgium. I was in Germany. We were both in Europe, but we weren't in the same place. He can't talk about the things that I was doing in Germany. I can't talk about things he was doing in Belgium. No. Now, my brother was here in Atlanta. He can't write it either, but he knew both. That's about how good your John the Baptist is. Ain't nobody wrote about John. John didn't write shit. John was incognito. Yep. Oh, he be trying to claim these people are eyewitnesses. Ain't none of these people eyewitnesses. No, sir. They're not an eyewitness to nothing. Oh, here's it. But did he baptize Jesus Christ? Yes or no? No, he didn't. According to your story, he did. According to any kind of proof, there is none. There is absolutely no proof of John the Baptist baptizing Jesus. It's just a story that's in your book. That's like me saying, well, since Homer wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey, and according to the Iliad and the Odyssey, Achilles died when Hector's brother shot him in his ankle. Can you prove that he got shot in his ankle? Can you prove that Achilles existed? Did Hector exist? Did any of them exist? We know that the city of Troy existed. We know that Troy battled against the other Greeks. But we don't know about any of those characters. There's no proof of those characters existing. So no, there's no proof of it. And the burden of proof is on the people who believe this bull. Welcome back, Wayne. Philadelphia in the building. Wayne, when we go to DC, you're going to have to come down from Philly to DC. See, one of the problems that a lot of Christians make, one of the mistakes they make, is that they try to validate the Bible with the Bible. You cannot validate the Bible with the Bible. Good evening, Leo. That would be like the Iliad and the Odyssey validating itself by what is written in the Iliad and the Odyssey. So if you're willing to say that the Bible validates itself, then the Quran validates itself. The Vedas validate themselves. The Upanishads validate themselves. The Iliad and the Odyssey validates themselves. And if something can validate themselves, then everybody exists and everything exists. But this is why there's this whole thing. You may not have heard about this, Fred, but it's called peer review. Peer review is when you write something and other people of equal knowledge or greater go and review what you wrote to see if it is valid or not. And since nobody has validated any of these things to be true, they're just the words that some people wrote almost 2,000 years ago. There's no way to prove it. It is not proven, I should say. It is not proven. And so it is not proof within itself. Oh, Memphis in the house? What up? In the great words of Yoda, because you know Star Wars validated itself because it was written. There is no try, just do. So no. What? In the book I'm writing, is a post-nuclear war. Ooh, I like end of the world stuff. By that reasoning, Mike Bernstein exists and is able to manipulate matter with his brain. Shit, I need to learn how to do that from Mike. Yeah, because Yoda exists. You know Yoda exists, right?
Huh?
You know Yoda exists, right?
Yeah.
In a galaxy far, far away. See, it's in a galaxy far, far away. So you just have to believe it, that Yoda exists. And he uses the Force, you know.
He's a demon.
Angie said Yoda is a demon. To all my Star Wars people, don't get mad at me because Angie said Yoda is a demon.
Don't get mad at me because I'm not serious.
You know, don't get mad at me. He got pointy ears and he green, you know, but Yoda.
You should just let me
But
go get my earbud.
I mean, but if you think about it, 1,000 years from now, there could be people could actually find like that all of this is destroyed, is gone, Earth, you know, extinction level event happened. A few people survive, 1% of the population survive. And in their survival, they find the Star Wars movie. They could literally believe that those Star Wars things are real because it talks about a force that permeates the universe. I hate that they went that midichlorian thing, but it permeates the universe and you can wield it and be a part of it. That could be, that's a religion. The Jedi are a religious cult. That's a whole religion. And people could literally start believing that Star Wars is real. Or, oh, Battlestar Galactica, especially the newer version of Battlestar Galactica, that they were the 12 colonies of Cobalt and they had their gods and they were searching and they came and found Earth, the lost colony. To find Earth because the Scions, is it Scions? I think it's the Scions, killing them after they created artificial life. Give enough time, let some destruction happen, people forget and they can make up shit. Hence, the Younger Dryas flood would have destroyed the overwhelming majority of civilizations that were in existence 12 to 9,000 years ago, and the remaining people picking themselves back up and starting over made up shit. Oh, there's water falling from the sky. It must be a god. We're going to name him Yahweh, the storm deity. And you continue to progress that narrative and you get to today where people are believing in some deity. Rick and Sheila said that Yoda is a saint. Back up off Yoda. Of course, Yoda lives. Yeah, and just like my man is saying, Ricky saying that some people think that they Vikings too. I have a gentleman who's on my Facebook and he always posts about the All-Father Odin. And there I've met people, we've had people on here who believe in, they follow the Norse mythologies. Here's the thing, Fred. I'm not trying to prove anything to you. I really don't care. Actually, all you did was provide a statement question that helps me to explain things to us who are deconstructing. You see, I know that you're never, well, I ain't gonna say never. I know that your mindset is such that even though I've demonstrated that there are no eyewitnesses, you ain't gonna ever let go of that. And that's fine. If that makes you a good person, stay a good person. If you ain't killing nobody because you believe in your religion, God, stay where you at. You ain't robbing nobody, stay where you at. I don't care. Huh? Right. So according to the prophet Paul, everything he says was according to his gospel. Yeah. Paul, if you, and this is one of those things that helped me in my deconstructing. When you compare the teachings of Paul to the teachings that are attributed to the Jesus character, they are different. You know, according to Paul, all you have to do is believe. But according to the Jesus character, you have to follow all the commandments. Oh, here's troll number 2. Now y'all about Islam. Now y'all about Islam and how they still holding American hostages in Palestine. First of all, ain't none of us about Islam. We ain't even talked about Islam. I don't know what the hell you talking about. That's A number 1. A number 2, America holds plenty of hostages, my guy. Other countries hold hostages. That ain't got nothing. That's just some American nationalism bullshit. I guess he's a Christian nationalist, probably. So you know they minds ain't all right. So the first time I heard from Fred was probably about 2 months ago, and he's been completely unsuccessful because of stupid ass statements like this. That's a lie from hell.
Yeehaw.
And talk about what do you say? Just Saint John 3:16 and Romans 10 verses 9 say the same thing. What the fuck you talking about? That ain't even what I was saying. That ain't even what I was comparing. Rich young ruler parable. Well, it's not a parable. That's actually a story. That's supposed to have been a live event that happened. Rich young ruler comes up to Jesus and he's like, "Hey, how do I get into heaven?" He said, "Have you followed all the commandments?" "Yes, I follow all the commandments." "Okay, well, sell all your shit and follow me." He goes away sad. So Jesus' requirement was keep all the commandments, sell all your shit, follow me. Jesus also said, "I come not to take one tittle from the law, but I'm just here to fulfill it." But so y'all supposed to still follow the commandments. Jesus said. Paul, all you gotta do is believe. So if you're gonna try to say something about what I'm saying, get in the right mindset. Well, I said get in the right mindset. What the hell I say that for? Nah, bro. You lacking. This is a good thing you didn't come onto the live stream. You know what, Trauma? I'm in a tendency to agree with you. Oftentimes I do think that we are hostages in this country. I think most people are hostages within their own countries. Huh? I can't understand you. Might be. Angie said I'm a hostage in Fred's head. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I don't care. I'm gonna say that all day long, all the day long. And see, here's that bullshit and it's not that I'm trying to show Fred's comment. It's that this is a common bullshit that Christians would say when you bring up the rich young ruler. But as you saw, I also brought up the fact that your Jesus said that you are still to keep the commandments, that he did not come to take them away. You are to keep the commandments. So it has nothing to do with Old Testament, New Testament. You are still to keep the commandments. Then your Old Testament, many times in Exodus, Numbers, and Leviticus, and Deuteronomy, expresses over and over again that you are to keep the laws, the commandments, the rituals, and the forgot the other word. You're supposed to keep all the bullshit perpetually for every generation, continuously. So there is no time frame that you're not supposed to keep them. And I really wish Christians would keep. There's one commandment I wish Christians would keep, and it ain't even the bullshit that they call the greatest commandment. Because to hell with they God, fuck they God. I wish Christians kept do unto your neighbors as you would do unto yourself, it says love your neighbor as you would love yourself. I really wish Christians would keep that commandment, because if Christians kept that commandment, there would not have been the Crusades. There would not have been the genocides of the indigenous people in America, there would not have been slavery, the transatlantic slavery. There would not have been the colonization of Africa, the colonization of India. If Christians actually kept that one commandment, there would be no murder. There would be no stealing by Christians. But yet, when you go to any prison, the overwhelming majority of people in prison, prior to going to prison, while they in prison, when they get out of prison, they claim Christianity. And the ones that retread claim Christianity. I really wish Christians would keep their commandments. That commandment. That would be great. That would be amazing. That would be amazing if Christians kept their commandments, if they kept their so-called greatest commandment, but they never do. Christians as a whole, you might find an individual here or there, but Christians as a whole do not keep it. If Christians were keeping their commandments, Christians wouldn't be voting for Trump nor Biden, wouldn't be voting for neither one of them if they was keeping their commandments. If they was keeping their commandments, they wouldn't be trying to force their religion down people's throat. But it's exactly, they're all about judging and hating. That's it. All about that. What are you saying, Andrew? Yahshua, and he was Hebrew with a U, not a W. Well, Yahshua, yeah, he was Hebrew. Okay, so the Yahshua of the Bible don't exist, period, point blank. That Yahshua don't exist, not the one of the Bible. That one is a legendized version. That is like, John Henry, David Crockett, what's the big dude, Paul Bunyan. That's a legendized story of people who could have possibly existed. Josephus wrote about 4 different Yahshus who were claiming to be messiahs. But throughout the time frame that the Romans were had conquered Judea, because that's what they called it, Judea, 1st century BCE, 1st century CE, 2nd century, there were always some dude claiming to be the Messiah. This fool, I debate the gospel of Christ every day, sir, in Yah name. It's not a debate if you're just saying the same shit over and over again. It's not a debate if you cannot say anything about the statements that are being made, but just, you're lying, you're a lie from hell, sir. Yeah, like we hung out with a DJ on Sunday, and he showed up, they were scratching. That's what Christians sound like all the time, especially Fred. Sound like a scratch record. Just on a loop. Same bullshit over and over again. That's what Will sounds like.
We'll deal with you.
Scratch records.
We'll deal with you. You so.
That fool said, that's only the you in Yeshua name. No. That's the consensus.
I've never seen a live with nobody like one person.
I've had that before.
What?
Yeah, they ran away
Nobody
though.
like that one person?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, this Joker. Oh. See, I know y'all, Fred be irritating y'all. Fred is like Def Jam comedy to me. It's just funny. It's like he the worst kind of Christian. Because he say the same shit, can't debate anything, can't create a functional sentence to save his life. And I tried to be nice to him about that. But oh wait a minute, that's a functional sentence almost. He just didn't put a period on it. I debate the gospel of Christ every day, sir, comma, every day, sir, in Yah name. it was a comma after the sir and period.
Woo-hoo.
But yeah, look at him. He made a sentence.
Oh,
Good job.
yay! You get a star.
Yeah, most Christians are blind followers. And it's kind of interesting. Most of the people who want to debate me are always sending me some bullshit about debating. It's always someone who is not, and this sounds arrogant, but I'm not really being arrogant. I forgot who said this before. Damn, I know it's a black man who said it. He said to those my equal, I debate. To those who are not, I teach. But I would add, to those who are even below, who are not teachable, I ignore. Because it would be foolish of me to bring somebody. I mean, I was just going to do Fred because he's been getting on my nerves. But it would be foolish of me to bring somebody like Fred on, or to try to debate him, because he doesn't have the skills to debate. Right? He doesn't have the knowledge base to debate. He can never say anything about the historicity of Christianity, only what the Bible says, what the Bible says, what the Bible says. And most of the time, they like to obfuscate to an area of the Bible that has absolutely nothing to do with what you're talking about. So, and that's why I don't do that, because I don't want to waste you guys' time on some bullshit. Now, every now and then they can say something that we can then, we can use for our deconstructing, and so I'll use that. And this is one of the reasons I had just read the first part of the sentence, but most Christians who get lost in their emotions are unable to articulate what they mean concisely. It makes them sound incredibly ignorant. Exactly. And when somebody is dealing with their religion just purely on an emotional level, it's not worth them debating, because all you're talking to are emotions. And just like faith, you cannot debate. You can't debate emotions either. Like you can't tell somebody they don't love you, that they don't love somebody. But and it can be very plain. You can have an abusive person towards the other person. They will claim that they love that person they're abusing, because they're talking about their emotions. And for them, in all their idiocy, they believe that they're showing love, or that they love that person. But it's not love at all. This is an interesting one. Coach, when and why did the power-hungry overthrower of the divine council step aside to let his so-called son rule? Why do people think Jesus is the head of the Godhead? Because Jesus is easier. Honestly, the Yahweh character is such a insecure being, filled with anger and jealousy, and only knows how to function based on fear. To send his son down and die in this human sacrifice of himself to himself is kind of a cop-out story. But it's an easy story. It makes people just be able to say, well, all I got to do is believe in Jesus. They'll ignore that they're supposed to be a new creature. They'll ignore that they're still supposed to follow the commandments. They'll ignore all these other aspects that they're supposed to be. But they'll put Jesus first, because then they created their whole Trinitarian teachings from the late 1st century up until it being solidified at the Council of Nicaea. And when they did their Trinity, because Jesus is easier, Jesus becomes the top dog in that Trinity. Even though the Jesus character is always praying to the Father, asking the Father this, asking the Father that. Jesus is just easy. Yahweh, you got to follow some rules. You're asking why people think Jesus changed God? Because Jesus is easier. Yeah, easy. Think about it, man. Think about if you had to keep all the holy days. If you had to genocide your enemies. If you had to sacrifice cows and pigeons. Think about if every time your woman has a cycle, every time a woman has a cycle, and every time a baby is born, you have to, something crawling on my damn neck. It was just in an irritating spot. Oh, now, shit. Fucker went down my shirt.
Take it off. Take it off.
So, I'm not with you. So imagine if you had to, ladies, imagine if every time you had a baby, you had to sacrifice an animal. As we've moved along in our cultures, that's unacceptable. Jesus is as easy. And so what they did is they try to go back through the Old Testament and try to make Jesus relevant in the Old Testament as if he was always there. That was part of the Trinitarian teachings that was solidified at the Council of Nicaea, is to make Jesus part of the entire story. So then Jesus becomes the Word. Then they say the Word was with God and was always God, even though it's a mistranslation. If you actually look at the Koine Greek writing of that, it actually says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was a God, and that God was towards the God. So the problem was that Arius was saying that Jesus was a created being subordinate to God because he was the Word. But the Athanasius, and this was all blowing up in Alexandria, Egypt, and that was important to the Romans. This is why Constantine was like, I got to settle this bullshit. And then, but Athanasius was saying that, no, they are one and the same. And of course, Athanasius won because he had the support of the Roman government. But so they changed the translation to say that they are one and the same. Then they went throughout the Bible trying to make Jesus relevant to the Old Testament to try to demonstrate that he has always been there. But it's all a facade. It's all just a big ass lie that they told. You gotta think, back in those times, the overwhelming majority of the people couldn't read. And just like today, the overwhelming majority of people are just going to accept whatever their parents are telling them, whatever the majority of the society who is telling them, and whatever the people in charge of that thing is telling them. So the people in charge of Christianity, all the bishops and stuff at the time frame, this is what they were saying. And if they said it, then it must be real, because these are supposed to be learned men. So Jesus becomes one with this God. And so you go on up to today and people just accept it and believe it without actually studying it for themselves. But when you look at that Koine Greek, it says he was a God who was towards the God. Because when it says the God is ton theos. When it's theos by itself, there is the assumed a in front of it when you write in Koine Greek. So when they wrote in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was theos, when the Logos was theos, there is not ton in there. If they said the Logos ton theos, then that would mean the Word was the God. So it's a separation that they put that definite article in there. But most Christians will never do that research. And when you show it to them, they stick with what they have today instead of recognizing the first writings concerning this being was that he was a God. And that's what Arius was arguing. But like I said, Athanasius won. So that's what it was. Right. And Christianity is a Jewish Roman. You had Hellenistic Jews who created Christianity for Vespasian. Even though you asked this question, you've asked it before. I know it's not a valid question. See, your question is already presupposing that Yah has to be the real God. See, when you go into study and you already have a predetermined landing point, you're not really studying. All you're trying to do is validate your point, right? But if you actually study the Bible in itself, beyond what you've been handed today, you will recognize that the Yah that is in your Bible in no way, shape, or form can be the true God, if there is one. You have to think in terms of this. A God, if a being is a God, that being will be unknowable and undefinable. So it would not be controlled by emotions of love, hate, guilt, anger, jealousy. No emotion can control or cause a deity that is supposed to be the God to act. And Yahweh fails miserably at that one. How did Jesus meet Moses? When Jesus never met Moses, from what I don't clarify, please. Oh, we way off topic now. I've been trying to get your attention. I'm sorry if this isn't the exact topic, but the next time I don't know, next time I can get this out to you. Check out the 1946movie.com. What is that about? Oh, you put it right here. It involves a mistranslation regarding homosexuality in 1946. Okay. Homosexuality is here's my thing about Garrett, homosexuality, Garrett, and I'm not sure if you are or are not. But I even say this too, and I'm supposed to do a podcast, and we might do it this week if we can get a schedule while I'm here in Atlanta. But there's a gentleman, he's a cool guy, but he's gay and he's Christian somewhat. Specific time frame to look up what? So let me know while I'm explaining this. So here's the thing about homosexuality that I don't understand. The Bible does, in so many ways, speak against homosexuality when it talks about a man laying with another man as he would a woman. When it talks about sexual sins, that's one of the sins that are incorporated into it. So I don't understand how homosexuals still follow the Bible. Why would you follow a book that hates your lifestyle? You know what I mean? Like, if a book was telling me that I was gonna burn for all eternity just for the simple act of smoking a cigar, fuck that book. You know what? That's yeah. I stick with that one. I'm not following that book. If there's something that I feel like it's a part of my lifestyle that is natural to me, and it's not a debate about whether it's natural or not, because as humans, we have higher consciousness. Things don't have to be natural for us to decide what is natural for us, right? So I'm not going to follow something that is arguing against what I find to be natural to my enjoyment, and I'm not doing any harm to anybody. So I wouldn't follow it. But it does talk about homosexuality. And see, this right here shows that Christians they make comments without actually listening to my video. Sex before marriage is not a sin. If you actually listen to the video, but having sex with a man is not a sin. I didn't say that. According to the Bible, it is. But there is no such thing as sex before marriage other than adultery. That's it. And adultery is only when you're having sex with another man's wife or a woman that's been betrothed to another man. Sex, you married to that woman, period. How did we really get here? Don't know. There are theories, but I don't think anybody has the answer right now. We may find out one day, but as of right now, nobody knows. Homo sapien only goes back 200. The evidence we have about Homo sapien only goes back 200,000 years. We have no evidence beyond that. We have nothing else beyond that. We don't know. People have this thing where they feel like they have to know something. No, I don't have to know everything. Oh, I would imagine there's been a lot of pushback against it. I'll check it out, Garrett. A lot of people would stop. I'm not one of them, but a lot of people would stop. That stuff stank. I don't know how y'all smoke it. When Ray Boltz came out as gay, he said he felt closer to God. That was one of the reasons I started thinking of myself for myself on the whole as a Christian. And I can actually understand that, because being true to yourself, who you think you are, who you desire to be, whatever it is, but being true to you would make you feel more connected to the universe, because you're getting into you're taking away things that's causing you agitation, that's causing you frustration, by accepting who you are. The most unknown place in the universe is yourself. So the more you know of yourself, the more you feel connected to how the universe ebbs and flows, and you can get into the flow of it. Like, that's one of the teachings from the Hermetics and from the Tao, is getting into the flow of the energy and the frequency of the universe. And the more you get into the flow of that, you will be connected. But you have to know yourself first and be willing to accept yourself first. But yeah, the Adam and Eve story is definitely not how we get here. Yeah, the Adam and Eve story is far from the truth of how we get here. Trauma said we're aliens. You see how stupid people can be? I answered the question. You don't listen. You don't listen. You don't listen. I answered the damn question. You acting like Will Seeger. Ask me a damn question and I answered already. And you were here present for the damn answer. But yeah, I checked that out. But, and that's more than anything else, I want people to hermetically, Taoistically, I'm making up a word, Taoistically, understand yourself first. Because if you don't ever understand yourself, and I do like using, it's not so much that I believe in chakras, but the chakra system of opening your chakras is an easy way to explain understanding self. Because if you are walking around with fear, guilt, shame, no love and hurt and grief, lying to yourself about who you are, feeling not understanding how everything in the universe is connected, and being willing and able to release all your earthly attachments. I'm not saying the chakra system is real, but it's a great process to truly freeing up yourself so that you can actually know yourself. And in knowing yourself, and if you follow that process, and then you got to have the 7 hermetic principles in there so that you don't go off the damn rails. When you can do that and recognize that the universe is mental, all things are mental. Mental frequency is what moves and creates everything, and that's how we're all connected. And that's how everything is connected into one big ass cosmic consciousness, which would be the all. I do differ from the Kabbalion in that thought. I don't think there's a separate all and we're existing in the mind of the all. Although I used to think that might be correct, but that we are all part of the conscious. We are all a joined, unified consciousness, but we got these blocks in place that prevents us from being able to realize and recognize the universal consciousness that we're all a part of. And it's not that we're little gods having a human experience, that bullshit. But when you can get to that level of infinite thought, you will be different and act different. You know, Christians talk about becoming a new creature. Shit, opening your chakras and understanding the hermetics, you can't help but be new. You lose things like nationalism and genders and race and all these different barriers that hold your mind from being able to truly see infinitely. You lose all those. So then you actually can treat everybody how you want to be treated. You can actually follow that rule because you've released all of those attachments and you're not walking around with all the fear, guilt, shame, and grief, you know? Gotta ask, who wrote the Adam and Eve story? Well, the Adam and Eve story, the Genesis story, was not written by Moses. That's first of all. It wasn't written by Moses. It was most likely written by scribes of Hezekiah. The stories might have been told a little bit before then, like a couple of centuries prior to that, but they was actually written by scribes of Hezekiah in and around the 9th and 8th century BCE. But they are borrowed, or they are what's the word I'm looking for? Inspired by the stories of the Assyrians, who were inspired by the Akkadians, who were inspired by the Sumerians. So it is the Sumerian story that inspired the Adam and Eve story, with Adapa and Titi and their children Cain and Abel, and their creation based on Enlil, Enki, Benharstag, and Anu coming together to mess around with man's genome. And the whole the knowledge thing was actually their ability to reproduce in their story. When you flip it into the Akkadian story, the Hebrew story, it becomes a tree of knowledge of good and evil. Do you have a celestial sanctum? I've never thought about it in those terms, but I would say yes. Oh, so we have 3 eyes. You said 3 minds, and I was like, what are you talking about? But I'm with you. Oh, that hermetics. H-E-M-E-R, hermetics. Hermetics. No, hermetics. The Kabbalion is a good book to start with the hermetics. It's a good book to start with. What the hell is a sanctum spanctum? You know, a sanctum, a peaceful respite, a place you can go and, you know, be away from everything and find peace and tranquility, whatever that may be, you know. But she put celestial in front of it, so that would be more of a higher conscious state. If I'm reading her, if I'm understanding what the question right correctly. But it will be a place, an outer body place, a conscious place that you can go and be in peace and tranquility and work and flow of the universe. And there will be infinite levels. The idea in hermetics is that there are infinite levels of higher consciousness. You're never going to get to the end. Rick and Sheila. I don't know where Rick and Sheila is. Y'all tripping on y'all. Y'all in Washington State. The hermetics is a philosophy. It's a philosophy of understanding how the universe functions. So a good book would be the Kabbalion, and I would suggest that you read it 100 times. So like in the hermetics, you have the 7 laws that govern the universe. The law of mentalism, and there's a lot in the law of mentalism because it talks about the all. Now, I don't agree with we all exist in the mind of the all. There's no separate all. That portion of it, I don't agree, but all things are mental. Everything is mental. We live in a mental universe. That could be the same as we live in an electric universe, but all things exist on a frequency and a vibration. So you're in Memphis. So there's a law of mentalism, law of correspondence, as above, so below. as within, so without. The law of polarity, everything exists on a pole. The law of cause and effect. Cause and effects rules the universe. For every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. There's no such thing as luck or chance. The law of vibration, that everything vibrates. Nothing is dead. There's no such thing as death, but all things vibrate. They're just on different parts of this pole. Things just vibrate on different parts of the pole. Okay. And there's the law of gender, that in order to manifest or create anything, all things in creation have a masculine and feminine energy, or another way of phrasing that is a positive and negative energy to it. And then there's the law of rhythm. All things function in rhythm. They flow to the right. As far as you can go to the right of a pole is as far as you can go to the left. If you vibrate this high, you can fall this low in vibration. Within the law of rhythm, there's the law of polarity, where you polarize yourself to minimize the swing, which takes the law of mentalism and the law of cause effect in order for you to polarize your vibration to minimize the swing of rhythm, so that you can stay pretty much in the same area. Think about it as people who are really good with their finances. Yeah, they have ups and downs, but their ups and downs are usually minimal. People who have low vibration in finances, they swing far to the right and they'll swing far to the left. So that's a short, condensed thought process on the Hermetics. It's a lot deeper the more you go into it. And the Kabbalion is like a good start, but there's a lot more. The Corpus Hermeticum is also a good second start after the Kabbalion. Some of that deity shit in there, and the Emerald Tablets are even better, but all that 9 lords and all that shit, no. They still try to implement some type of deity within it in the Emerald Tablets. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't even admit that you were wrong about the Trump shooting was real, not shattered glass. No, if you listen to my video, I said that there was a report that it was the bullet hit the teleprompter. I didn't say that that's what happened. I said there was a report. Hell, we all ain't gonna know what actually happened until much later. So there was a report. I haven't seen any report to refute it yet, but who knows? They might. And if they do, as people on here have seen me do with the Octua girl recently, I had to correct something because I had made a false report. So I said there was a report. See, now this is the person, Homer J, which is funny how the Simpsons be predicting shit. You can't let go of your earthly attachments and recognize that I said a report, and then say, okay, well, instead of saying you can't admit you're wrong, come on here and say, hey, reports or findings have said that it actually was a bullet that hit his ear. I'm cool with somebody showing me something that's different. I don't mind that. But you're so caught up in your nationalism and your politics, and you're holding on to those earthly attachments that you can't let go of those when having an intellectual conversation. Like, this is why we stay separated in this world, is that we want to hold on to whatever we think we know, or hold on mainly to how we feel about something, and then we just run with it. And see, here you go again, Homer J. I showed you the picture on it, but you ignored it. Homer J, this is my first time ever seeing you in existence. So I showed you. Let me put it like this, Homer J, so that you can understand. Okay, you're on Facebook. I have 152,000 people on my Facebook page. If you think I see everything that somebody writes or posts on Facebook, no, I don't. And then I get like 50 plus DMs every day on Facebook. I don't see all of that. I don't read all that. It's too much. I actually like enjoying my life. So no. So instead of saying, I showed you a picture, but you ignored it, do like my man earlier. Hey, been trying to catch your attention. This movie, 1946 movie.com, check it out. The man recognized that I may not have seen what he posted. That's lower. This is a perfect example of lower vibrational thinking, getting all into your feelings. And even though I know text doesn't show tonality, but the way it's written, the tonality would be the lower vibrational thought of, I showed you the picture, but on it, but you ignored it. No, raise your vibration, my guy. And recognize that it's very possible that I did not see it. Anything that you posted. Because this is my first time ever seeing your commentary or knowing you exist. That's a higher vibrational thought. Because if it was me on the flip side, I would have said, hey man, I posted a picture that demonstrates that it was a bullet or whatever you was trying, whatever the picture says, to just alert me to it. But that's low vibrational thinking. And that's what we have to overcome, is the lower vibrational thinking, so that we can speak to each other rationally instead of trying to create defenses and come into each other defensively or overly aggressive. See, Homer just raised his vibration, y'all. I'm gonna act like church. No, I just playing. I respect that. And I respect you, sir. I can always respect somebody who listens to another person's point of view and think through it and say, okay, all right, you made a good point. Yeah, I can respect that. Hell no. And you say, oh, you don't respect Fred? Hell no. I don't know. What I can't help myself, because I spent those years in the Marine Corps and I did things that y'all don't need to know what I did, right? I didn't know it was 130 yards. I didn't spend much time on the Trump thing. I really don't care too much. But 130 yards, if I had with an AR-15, depending upon the training of the person, I don't know. And they're not like everybody got to be military to have that kind of training, because hell, every Olympics when we send, I don't know if they still do skeet shooting in the Olympics anymore. I think that's one of the events they took out. But them do, most of this, half of them jokers ain't never been in the military. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was about to tell y'all, give me 5 minutes and go ahead and on some jokers. Oh, you was in the Army? Ain't really Marines yet. No, I just play. We all win at the end of the day. Shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, it's a if I took time to research it, I probably would have a better understanding of everything. Everything that happened. Oh, that's what we doing. I ain't heard somebody say Marines eat crayons in a long time. That's what I love about military people. We can talk trash to each other and walk away and have a drink together. All right. Did God ever told Jesus personally that he would be sacrificed for his sins of everyone, or it's just another, according to Paul, kind of thanks, King. The story doesn't tell you that he says that it's said that way. The way the story is written, it's like it infers that Jesus kind of already knew it. And the only way you get that is when he's up there saying, like, if this cup can be passed from me, which is weird, because if he was God, then he would already know the answer to that and wouldn't ask the question. But he asked the question anyway. So it's kind of like he already knew that he had to, according to the story. But it's a dumb question. The question to get you to that thought process is kind of one of those things that Arius was like, nah, this Joker can't be God, because he would have known. So they probably played Call of Duty. Probably. The shooter was 20. Yeah, they said he was 20 years old. But yeah, the whole Jesus storyline has a lot of, for those people at that time frame, it works. But as it moved through cultures and moved through time, the story loses its validity. But people are so emotionally caught up to it, they can't help it. I'm not even 100% sold that the person they claiming to be him is the Thomas Crooks guy. I'm not even 100% sold that he actually was the person. Like when you see the one picture of him laying the body laying on the ground, on the roof, rather, that guy has brown hair. The Thomas Crooks guy got more blondish hair. It's somewhat brown, but more blondish. So I don't know. I ain't sold on it yet. I got to see more dealing with it. And I was watching this doctor who was explaining what happens when a gunshot hits a person's ear. The doctor's explanation, and I'll probably look and check out a few more doctors. It's called peer review to see what they say about when that kind of thing happens. I don't know. Do I think that they wouldn't allow collateral damage to happen in order for them to do something politically? Yeah, but it may or may not be. I've heard some of this, that most people there weren't Secret Service at the event. They were DEA agents, different training. And that would make a huge difference. That would make a difference. Look, what did they call the lady? They call her Secret Service Blondie. And they were saying it was her first assignment. And I was watching, because I downloaded this video. I might use it for a video. Chick was struggling to put her gun back in the holster. Now that could have been nerves. Could have been nerves. Don't know. But if you're a well-trained agent, and so that could have been lack of training, but that and nerves. I've seen some very well-trained Marines and well-trained Army get into a real situation and lose their shit. They are like half the training went out the window. What do you say? Since she couldn't handle it as fight, flight, or freeze. Yeah. Yeah, she was very much discombobulated during that, because reholstering your weapon should be second nature, to you. Like, I don't even have to consider where, I don't have to look or think about reholstering my gun. I know exactly where it's at. I know exactly where it goes. So there's a lot to that one. This is why I'm usually late on some of these type subject matters, because I try to get more information first before I say something, so something can be real popular. I'm not trying to jump out on the trend, but if I do say something, I'm just going to say it to the length that I can, with some level of confidence. To some level of confidence. But yeah, but I'm going to have to get out of here. The lady of the house, well, not this house, but the lady of my house is giving me the side eye because I told her I'm only going to do 2 hours today. But I know that it's been because of travel that I wasn't able to get on here. Well, I didn't take the time to get on here. How the hell leaving at night? I want y'all to know, Angie is the one. When y'all see me do lives consistently, it's because of Angie. She's a good woman. She will fuss at me. You ain't live. When you gonna do a live? You must be doing a live. You need to do a live. So you have to thank her for all the lives. Because it was easier when it was cooler and I could do it earlier in the day. In the evening, man, you get into your groove of the day. Like, I'm about to whoop everybody in this house in some Uno. Because for my brother's house, I am the Uno champion up in this piece. Every time we hear, no matter who visits, I always win because I am the Uno champion up in this piece. Say something if you want to. Say something, because Angie swears she's the queen of it. Texas Goddess said, thanks for the life.
She will. There'll be more
Yeah.
consistent.
Because I know that's why Donna came to the door a little while ago. She was like, because they ready to get that ass whooping. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. Uno is a rap over here. Hey, I come to any one of y'all town and weigh y'all out. You know, we gotta get out here. We gotta get out here. But we gotta get off here. I appreciate you guys. Y'all can continue to have conversations. You know that, right? In the text, y'all can keep talking. But I gotta get off here because Angelina also made me dinner, so I gotta respect the dinner. So, ooh, ALH called you the first lady. I don't know if he's talking about you, but I'm gonna say he's talking about you. Called you the first lady.
Tell me had a conversation. No.
All right. Enough of the stupidity. Y'all have a good one. I will see you really, really soon. I ain't even gonna tell you today, but you know, I always try to post like 30 minutes before I go live when I'm gonna go live. He said yes, he is. He was talking about you, first lady. I told her she's gonna be the first lady of the what did I call it? The Taoistic, no, the Church of Hermetic Alchemy.
Yeah. You can't put church.
No, not church. The Temple of Hermetic Alchemy. She's gonna be the first lady.
Mm-hmm.
Singing her song. All right, so y'all have a good one. Always remember you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Hey, the merch is coming. The merch is coming. It's already live. So if you go to Shine Universe, yeah, we get the merch. Got dog it. Tell me what it is so I can type it in here. I know it's Shine Universe.com. I'm thinking it should be /mastering you.
I believe. I know you sent me QR code, but I'm not.
All I got is a QR code. I know it's shineuniverse.com, and the individual shop should be mastering you. So I'm going to go ahead and post that because Angelina don't know how to work her phone over there.
I do.
You gonna test that out?
I'm giving 1 minute.
I could have did that. Slow, she's slow, y'all.
That's a Garmin.
Because we got the Lying Ass Liar t-shirt and mug. We got the Free Yourself to Be Yourself t-shirt and mug. And we got the Good Journey, Good Vibration t-shirt and mug. Did that work? Did that work?
Cool. Go to Team Shop. Go to Shine Universe and just go to Team Shop.
So go to shineuniverse.com.
And then in the...
Oh, shit. That's going to make it do that.
Here, hold on. Wait. I got you.
No, I messed up.
Everybody still on?
Yes, I'm on.
There.
What?
Send the thing.
Oh, so Angelina just posted where you can get merch for the merch that I just described, which is shineuniverse.net. So ignore my whole post. Matter of fact, I delete my shit. Let me delete my comment. So go there for the merch. And I forgot who said it, but the Poom Poom shirt's gonna get designed too. Poom Poom and Ping Ping. And go to Team Shops, Mastering You. Get the merch. Y'all have a great day. Free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations, and I'm out.